everybody, and welcome to the channel. Welcome to an actual driving video. We've not done one of these for a little while due to certain restrictions being in place for many of us. Much of my content's been based on the driving in the garage recently, but no, today we're actually out for a drive. But the drive isn't necessarily the thing we're focusing on today, because today we're going to be discussing the Fiat Panda 100HP and the performance air filter I fitted to it last week. Now, if you did watch last week's video where I actually fitted the filter into the car, I did mention I'd give my thoughts on it, and that's exactly what this video is going to be. Now, I will say with this, there are several different brands of performance filter available. You've got one from Italy called a BMC filter for one of these. You've got Piper Cross, which I believe make one as well, and you've got the brand that I've gone for. No specific preference, just it was my choice at the time. K&N, official partner of NASCAR, I believe, if I remember rightly. I'm trying to concentrate on driving as well. It's multitasking. When I did my April channel update, I mentioned at the time that some of these air filters do work with some cars and they don't work with others. That's just the fact of it. Some cars are set up differently. Obviously in modern cars with fuel injection, you've got different maps, which obviously some maps will work better with filters than others. And of course you've got other variants which are more common now than they maybe were previously, such as the small cylinder engines with turbos and things like that. A turbo will have an effect on how much airflow is around your engine bay. Well, not around the engine bay, but running around the engine, you know what I mean. And obviously a car with a carburettor, that's going to react very differently to these sort of high flow air filters than a fuel injection car, just because of the way they're set up as well. These are just the facts. So I was quite interested to see how an air filter, performance filter that is, would work with the Panda 100HP, and well, my initial thoughts are it's rather good. It's been in here for about a week, just over a week now, and it's actually, I wouldn't say the difference in power and torque and all that is, there's not a lot of it really, to be perfectly honest. It's not really a huge change in terms of the power and torque levels in here. There isn't particularly a difference in power and torque level in this. I mean, it's still going to be a Panda 100HP, no matter what jokes I make about the sticker adding 5 HP, or as commenters have mentioned, 10 HP, which I think may be a little optimistic even for a sticker. But yeah, I think overall there has been a slight difference, but not necessarily in the torque or the actual power. But I think where the difference has been made in the power delivery. A performance air filter works like this. It works off the principle of more air goes in, therefore more fuel is needed to counter it, therefore more performance in your engine. It's as simple as that really. Obviously, combustion engine needs air to combust. So if more air goes in, more fuel needed, more power, more torque, more whatever. You get the picture. But yeah, as I say, I don't think it's made a huge difference on this. I mean, I wouldn't say the original filter that was in this was particularly constricting. It wasn't exactly holding back the performance of this, let's put it that way. But think about it this way, if you do exercise regularly, I'm talking about you as a person, not your car, if you do exercise regularly, your muscles are less tense, and that means obviously you get more oxygen into your body, obviously through your lungs, which are obviously less tight because you're doing it more frequently. A car is just the same way, except just a slightly different way of doing it. But let's just talk about the driving modes of the Fiat Panda, shall we? In normal everyday driving mode, which I currently am in, it doesn't really make much difference. I will say actually it does feel a little bit smoother on acceleration, but in terms of how it actually feels, it's no more immediate than it was with the standard filter. So on that front it hasn't made much difference really. However, in sports mode, that's where there is a bit of a difference, because obviously when you press sport mode in the Panda 100HP, the mapping changes to allow for that extra bit of performance. What sports mode does in the Panda 100HP is it stiffens up the steering wheel, makes it a bit heavier, a bit more sporty and go-kart like as it were. and it also sharpens the throttle response, so you don't have to press it down as hard to get the most out of it. It's a fairly simple premise, but something in that map is obviously affected by how much air goes in and how much fuel is obviously put in to counter that. I gave this car a week or so just to get used to it, because obviously, like everything new, it takes time to get used to it, so I didn't expect results immediately. But after the week, I will say in sport mode at least, the power delivery seems to be a little bit more linear. It seems to be a little bit more responsive lower down in the rev range at least, which obviously more power earlier on means a bit more fun in the bends. And of course the Panda 100HP, not the quickest car in the straight line, I'll fully admit, its Abarth cousin or sibling, whatever you want to call it, is obviously going to always be a lot quicker. It's got a turbo. Again, these are just the facts of what happens, but yeah, overall that has made a bit of a difference. In terms of the fuel economy, not really much difference, to be honest. Nothing noticeable anyway. It's about the same as it always has been under my ownership. And really, when it comes to performance filters, there's only so much you can talk about, because, well, there's only so much there is to it. So overall, we've discussed performance. Overall, it's not done a huge amount in normal mode, but in sport mode it has made a bit of a difference. I did try some 0-60s on the way home, but I wouldn't say they're necessarily representative, because it is a bit of a hill, and obviously hills do slow us down, and it's a mobile app, and it wasn't necessarily the most accurate one either in the first place. But in sport mode it did make a bit of a difference overall from my little runs that I did. It made a difference of about, maybe on average, 0.07 of a second quicker to 60, which, let's face it, in the real world you're not going to notice. Formula 1, yeah, you might. Real world, no, you're not really going to notice that too much. But in terms of the power delivery, as I've already mentioned, it's fairly linear. It's added a bit more, well, it's added a bit more linearity to it. It's actually a bit more responsive down low, as I've said. But I think that's got to bring this video to a close, because I've rambled on long enough about this filter. Is it worth the cost of actually having one? If you're going to buy one just specifically to have because it's washable, it'll last the lifetime of your car if you look after it and wash it when it needs to be, then yes, by all means, I would say go for it. But if you're buying one just for performance and performance alone, no, I wouldn't say so. Also, induction noise, that has obviously been improved slightly. Anyway, there we go, that brings this video to a close. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I shall see you in the very next video. So until then, farewell.